You're born in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Your father works the night shift at a casino, dealing blackjack to tourists who think they can beat the house. Your mother cleans hotel rooms for $8 an hour plus tips that barely cover groceries. You grow up in the shadow of billion-dollar casinos, watching limousines drop off millionaires while your family clips coupons to afford school lunch. You're 10 when your father explains the math. The house always wins because every game is designed with a built-in advantage. Roulette pays 35 to 1 on single numbers, but there are 38 spaces on the wheel. Blackjack dealers hit soft 17, giving the casino an extra 0.5% edge. Slot machines are programmed to keep 92 cents of every dollar. And the bright lights and free drinks are paid for by people who don't understand probability. Your childhood is spent in casino employee break rooms, watching your father count tips and calculate odds. He teaches you to spot card counters, recognize betting patterns, identify the tells that reveal when someone's bluffing. You learn that gambling isn't about luck. It's about information, psychology, and mathematics. The people who win understand these things. Everyone else just feeds the machine. School bores you because you already understand the most important lesson: the house always wins. While other kids dream of hitting the lottery, you're calculating the true odds of every bet. You start small, running a poker game in the high school cafeteria using lunch money as stakes. You don't play. You take a 5% rake from every pot. By senior year, you're making more money than most teachers. College is a revelation. Fraternities throw weekly poker games with buy-ins of $500 or more. Rich kids from Connecticut and California throw around money like confetti, thinking poker is about luck and bravado. You organize the games, provide the cards and chips, and take 10% of every pot. You're not gambling, you're running a business. Your first real operation starts junior year. You rent a basement apartment off campus and transform it into a professional gambling den. Round tables with felt surfaces, professional-grade chips, automatic card shufflers. You hire dealers from local casinos who need extra money. The games run Thursday through Sunday, targeting students with trust funds and young professionals who think they're smarter than they are. Yet the customer base expands through word of mouth. Doctors, lawyers, small business owners who want the thrill of high-stakes gambling without the oversight of licensed casinos. You provide what they can't get legally: credit, privacy, and games with higher limits than state regulations allow. Your basement becomes known as the Vault, where serious players go for serious money. You learn the psychology of gambling addiction. Dr. Williams, a psychiatry professor, loses his house payment playing Texas Hold'em every Friday night. He knows the odds better than anyone but can't stop chasing the rush of a perfect hand. Maria, a successful real estate agent, borrows against her clients' deposits to cover poker debts. They're not stupid or weak, they're chemically addicted to the dopamine hit of risk and reward. Your operation grows sophisticated. You install security cameras, hire muscle for protection, and develop relationships with corrupt police officers who tip you off about potential raids. You launder money through fake consulting companies and cash-intensive businesses. What started as college poker games becomes a multi-million-dollar enterprise with 30 employees and protection from local organized crime. The sports betting operation launches when you realize how much money flows through office fantasy leagues. You start offering odds on professional sports, taking bets through encrypted apps and secure websites. Your customers can wager on everything from Super Bowl outcomes to individual player statistics. The volume is enormous because everyone thinks they understand sports better than the bookmakers. You hire mathematics graduates to set odds and manage risk. They analyze thousands of variables: player injuries, weather conditions, historical performance, even social media sentiment. Your betting lines are more accurate than Las Vegas because you have better data and faster computers. You're not just taking bets, you're creating a financial instrument based on athletic performance. The online platform expands internationally. Wealthy clients from Europe and Asia access your games through encrypted networks. High-roller poker tournaments with million-dollar buy-ins. Exclusive baccarat games for oil executives and tech billionaires. You're running a shadow financial system where gambling debts are settled with cryptocurrency and wire transfers to offshore accounts. Your personal life becomes complicated by success. You live in a penthouse apartment but can't enjoy it because you're constantly watching for threats. FBI surveillance, rival operators, customers who lose more than they can afford and turn violent. You employ bodyguards and vary your daily routine, but paranoia becomes your constant companion. The money is incredible, but the stress is killing you slowly. The first major crisis comes when Senator Mitchell, a longtime customer, loses $4 million in a single weekend. He doesn't have the money and can't raise it without exposing his gambling problem. He's facing political ruin if the story breaks, but you can't let a $4 million debt slide without losing credibility with other customers. You arrange a payment plan that involves legislative favors, votes on gambling regulations that benefit your operation. The corruption spreads like cancer. Police captains who take monthly payments to ignore your activities. Judges who reduce sentences for your arrested employees. City councilmen who vote against zoning restrictions that would shut down your operations. You're not just running an illegal gambling ring, you're operating a shadow government funded by addiction and protected by corruption. Your empire includes legitimate businesses that wash dirty money, a chain of laundromats that reports triple their actual revenue, restaurants that claim to serve thousands of customers who never existed, car washes that detail phantom vehicles. These businesses employ people who work real jobs while unknowingly participating in money laundering. Their paychecks come from gambling profits disguised as legitimate income. But the psychological toll becomes severe. You're surrounded by people whose lives you're destroying, but they keep coming back for more. Dr. Williams loses his medical practice but still shows up every Friday night. Maria's real estate business collapses, but she borrows money from loan sharks to keep playing. You provide the drug, but they're the ones who choose to inject it. The federal investigation begins when an IRS algorithm detects suspicious patterns in your business income. Restaurants that report huge profits but minimal food purchases. Laundromats with enormous utility bills but low detergent expenses. Car washes that never seem to order cleaning supplies. Agent Jennifer Clark, a financial crime specialist, starts connecting the dots between your legitimate businesses and your illegal operations. Then your organization starts fragmenting under pressure. Marco, your head of security, gets arrested on weapons charges and agrees to cooperate to avoid 20 years in prison. Lisa, who managed your online betting platform, flees to a non-extradition country with $2 million in client funds. The police informants you've been paying for years suddenly stop returning calls as federal heat makes them too nervous to maintain contact. The mathematics of your empire become unsustainable. You're paying protection money to organized crime, salaries to 60 employees, bribes to dozens of officials, and operating expenses for 30 locations. The profit margins that seemed enormous when you were running basement poker games get eaten alive by the overhead costs of a criminal enterprise. You need constant growth to service existing debts. But growth attracts attention you can't afford. Your final gamble involves a high-stakes tournament designed to attract wealthy international players. The buy-in is $10 million. With participants from Russian oligarchs to Saudi princes. The prize pool is enormous, but so is the risk. This many wealthy foreigners gambling illegally in America will definitely attract federal attention, but you need the revenue to keep your organization solvent. The tournament becomes a trap. Agent Clark has been tracking the international money flows for months, waiting for all the major players to gather in one location. The raid happens during the final table, with cameras rolling and headlines writing themselves 67 arrests, including politicians, judges, and police officials you've been bribing for years. So the footage of handcuffed billionaires and corrupt officials becomes international news. Your trial lasts 8 months and reveals the full scope of your operation. $200 million in illegal gambling revenue over 5 years. Bribes to 43 public officials. Money laundering through 67 businesses across 12 states. The prosecution portrays you as the head of a criminal organization that corrupted democratic institutions. The defense argues you simply provided entertainment services that should be legal anyway. You're sentenced to 25 years in federal prison for racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy, and corruption. Your assets are seized under civil forfeiture laws. The penthouse, the cars, the businesses, even your personal bank accounts. The government takes everything you built and distributes it to law enforcement agencies as crime-fighting funds. Prison is an education in the true cost of your choices. You're not just serving time for your crimes. You're paying for the lives you destroyed. Dr. Williams committed suicide when he lost his medical license. Maria's children entered foster care when she was arrested for embezzling client funds. The politicians and judges you corrupted face their own prison sentences. Their careers and families destroyed by association with your organization. Your cell becomes a place of calculation and regret. You run the numbers obsessively, trying to figure out where you went wrong. The house always wins. But you forgot that you were never the house. You were just another player in a larger game controlled by forces you didn't understand. The real house was the federal government, and they had better odds than any casino. Letters arrive from former customers asking for money you no longer have. Employees blame you for their arrests and destroyed lives. Your parents refuse to visit, ashamed of what you became. The fame you earned as a successful businessman becomes infamy as a convicted criminal. Your story appears in business schools as a case study of how greed and hubris destroy promising careers. Release comes after serving 18 years with good behavior. You're 55 years old with no marketable skills except running illegal gambling operations. Your criminal record makes legitimate employment nearly impossible. You find work washing dishes at a casino restaurant, watching tourists lose money at the same games you once operated illegally. The irony is bitter but fitting. The gambling world continued without you, adapting to new technologies and opportunities. Online platforms operating from offshore jurisdictions serve American customers through legal loopholes. Cryptocurrency enables anonymous betting on everything from sports to political elections. The same demand you served illegally now generates billions in revenue for legal operators who learned from your mistakes. You spend your remaining years trying to repair relationships destroyed by your criminal career. Most of your old friends are dead, imprisoned, or want nothing to do with you. The fortune you accumulated is gone, seized by the government or stolen by former associates. You live in a studio apartment and take public transportation, a far cry from the penthouse and luxury cars of your criminal heyday. The addiction never completely disappears. You still calculate odds compulsively, notice betting patterns in everyday activities, and feel the familiar rush when you see people taking risks. But you resist the temptation to organize new games or contact old associates. Not because you found morality in prison, but because you finally understand that the house always wins. And you were never really the house. Somewhere right now, a college student is organizing poker games in a dorm basement, thinking they understand odds better than their opponents. They see the money flowing and start dreaming of bigger games, higher stakes, real power. They have no idea they're taking the first steps toward the same prison cell where you spent the best years of your life. This story is fiction, but underground gambling is real. The addiction is real. The corruption is real. And somewhere right now, someone is calculating odds and thinking they can beat a system designed to destroy them, just like you once did.